Tango, Kilo Echo 8, Papa Zulu November, the Ham Radio Adventure Guy. Thanks for stopping by your one stop for everything Adventure Radio. It is Hump Day. Means it's time for the Hump Day happy hour. And we're going to have a good show. At least I hope so. I hope everybody wants to talk about some gear. But before we do, we're going to say shout out to all these Patreons right here. And there's several new ones on there. And I did want to say, if you are a new Patreon and you have not used any of your benefits yet, or you don't know how to use your benefits, make sure and message myself and Dan, and let's get you using some of these benefits, because there's several new people, and I haven't been seeing you guys in like none of the chats or nothing. So I'd like to see you guys come over and really enjoy the community that I've built with this Patreon, because it is absolutely awesome and it's a lot of fun. So make sure, if you haven't used none of the benefits, to send us an email, and shout out to all the Patreons. Then we're going to head over to the Adventure Club. There was a bunch of moving around. Everybody pretty much stayed in the same place, but there was some definitely moving around in the money wise. But shout out to James Jenner and to Toby for the off-stream donations. Appreciate you guys very much. And we are in the last month of this quarter before we give away something at the end. So let's get yourself in the top 10 and get ready for another giveaway. So what's going on, Dan?
Not a lot. Hello, everybody in the chat. Pamela, Toby, Andy, James, Reed, Chris, Eddie, John. We got a slew of them in here. Charlie Golf, Charlie. Mom's in the chat. X-Ray Oscar, Chris. Oh, my goodness. We got a house full. Oh, Richard, Kilo 8 Golf is in there. The strong 5'9" from Byron, Georgia. Ken's in there.
That Kilo 8 Golf Richard guy, that's Richard George, right?
Yeah. Yep. Sure is. I got him in my log a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I do too. Like sometimes I'll get him in at 10 different times on one band at the same park. Mm-hmm. I mean,
he wasn't sure that. Yeah, he wasn't sure that you heard him today on 20 meters. So I said, hey, you might want to call again to be sure.
Yeah, it was funny that he didn't, because normally he'll come in 5'9" plus and still. I think it was 30 meter CW yesterday. He was booming in there, and like he would just call, and I'd answer him, and he wouldn't answer me. And he'd call, and he wouldn't answer me. I was like, "Come on, Terry!" He finally answered me, got in there. That's always good to pick on Terry, and his twin brother PP, man. If he's in there tonight, he's probably out activating, being a loser, because he'll activate at dumb times like stream time.
No. I'm gonna give him props right now. He is unactivated, or he's getting done activating, one of the two. But he's running QRO. Don't let everybody know.
That is true.
Just keep it a secret between us. Don't let everybody know that.
Okay. Yeah, he contacted me last night, I believe it was. And as soon as he contacted me, I said, "What are you running?" Like it was just instant. I said, "What are you running?"
Yeah. I still refuse to give him a 5'9", so I always say you're a strong 5'8". 5'8" plus.
He might got tired of my QR panties remarks. So we were sitting around the campfire. Well, not around the campfire, but everybody's sitting around the campfire, which is right near the table where I'm activating 1810 from. And when I got done activating, my brother said, "Why were you talking about panties and stuff?" Because I was like, "I'll take the QR panty station." And then he gave me a signal report and stuff, and I was like, "Yeah, you're probably wearing a nice little pink pair. Thanks for contacting us." But yeah, when he contacted last night, he was definitely on the strong side. So I immediately was like, "What are you running?" Because I knew it wasn't QRP for sure.
He sent me a picture of his new little home setup with his pan adapter and everything else that he has, and it looks pretty QRO. It's a very QRO QRP setup. It looks nice. Looks very nice. But
I mean, it's okay to.
We've been just still recovering from this damn hurricane that ran us slap over last week. We were about 4.5 miles southeast of the eye wall, no, northwest of the eye wall that came through, and it slammed us pretty hard. So we're getting stuff done back at work and just been a nightmare at work. So.
Well, welcome to our newest YouTube member, Kilo Oscar 4 Fox Sierra Zulu.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate that very much. And if you see somebody's name in the cool green writing, they're a YouTube member that they get extra benefits as well and stuff. That's another thing. If you're a YouTube member and have not used your benefits, message myself or Dan so we can get you set up for that because I want everybody getting benefits. But speaking of Kilo Oscar 4 Fox Sierra Zulu, I was using his antenna a little bit ago and was just absolutely slaying some 20 meters. So
yeah.
Then I went over and did a little bit of CW on 20 and 40. So still loving that thing. Does a great job.
Yeah, I'm loving it. It is a really good one. And you got a couple more days left, guys, on the discount code for him.
That's right. Up until 9/11. The code HRAG Happy Hour will get you a discount on that. But for your research there, Chris, because people's always asking how high. Today it was on a jackknife pole, so it was about 31 feet is what I was running it today. So higher than the last time I was running it.
Yeah, buddy.
I've not found a bad range for it yet. So.
No, I think at the Montesano, I had the far end up, 50, 55, 60 feet, something like that, sloping down to probably about eye level on me. So a little under 6 feet, 5 feet, 5 inches, somewhere around there. So yeah, it did great.
And see, that's the thing. We had it there and it swayed it. I had it out here at Chief Logan when I did the review, a different spot, and I had it about 30-ish feet, 25, 30-ish feet, and it was sloping down to a tree about maybe chest level on me. And tonight I've got it 31 feet sloping down, and it's on top of my Harbor Freight box that goes to my radio. So it's probably 12 inches off the ground tonight.
Okay, so about the same height that you normally put your spark plug. Yes,
it's the exact setup that I normally do with my spark plug, except I'm using the jackknife pole tonight because I got a section stuck on my spider beam, so I got to get that undone.
Yeah,
and we're talking about all this.
About hitting it with a sledgehammer.
So we're talking about all this gear. No, I haven't hit it with a sledgehammer because I'd be scared to break that thing. And I love my spider beam pole. It's so handy. Okay. So I'll get it done. I'll get it done one way or another, or else I'll end up having to get another pole. But
right,
we're talking about all this gear, and that's what I want to talk about tonight is Pota gear. So if anybody has questions about specific Pota gear or what we use or anything like that, make sure and throw that in the chat, and we'll try to cover that. Because I've used quite a bit of peanut butter. I've used quite a bit of Pota gear in my time. I've did an activation or two, so chances are I may have used something like what you want to know about, if not the exact item. And if you're wanting to know about an icon, you'll have to talk to Dan.
I don't activate with my icon very much, and actually, all right, so I always have both with me because I'm the type of person that's always 2 is 1, 1 is none kind of. Because if I have a radio die for some reason, I want to have something else to go back with. Because I'm not going to fail an activation. I don't care if I got to send smoke signals, Morse code, right? But the only thing I like, I'm not going to say the only thing I like about the icon. What I like about the icon, especially during a busy 40-meter late shift activation, is the scope. It makes it so much easier to find a clear 3kc of channel. That's the only gripe I have about the 891. Yeah, the 891 has a scope to it, but it's nothing to really write home about, right? So.
And if you're the type of person that really wants a scope, Icon makes a great scope.
Oh,
I'm just not a scope person.
so does Jesus. I mean, when you get it off of that 3D, whatever it is that I don't understand, you know?
It's not comparable to the icon. So the icon definitely has a better, it's definitely a nicer scope. But I'm just not a scope person anyway. I could care less. About half the time, I don't even have mine on.
Yeah.
And because, I'm not really, I look one time for a frequency and then I'm there and I'm not, I'm not moving a lot or nothing like that. So,
That's right.
you know what? The 6100 does have a nice scope, Eddie. I'm going to agree with you with that. The 6100, for a cheaper radio, that thing's got a great scope. I mean, just absolutely amazing. I would like to take a 6100 out for a couple of weeks and just play with it, just for giggles. I don't need another QRP radio, but I would like to play with one for a couple of weeks.
I absolutely love my 6100. The only thing I hate about it, is the built-in speaker is a pile of crap. You got to have an external speaker. Other than that, perfect. For sideband, for CW, you can use the internal speaker and get away with it, but for sideband,
All right, Mr. Icom, I'm going to let you take Sandy's question here. Sandy wants to know what a scope is.
What a scope is. A scope is where you can see the waterfall on your screen of where stations are. And let me, it's a graphical representation of the band. But I'm taking a picture of mine right now so you can see it. And then I'll share this picture in just a minute. But it's a, you can see the signals, how wide they are, and it lets you find a clear frequency a lot faster than just listening. Because most of the time, what I think is a clear frequency is not, because there might be somebody like 2 kcs down. And even though I really can't hear them, if I start activating there, it's probably going to make them mad. So I just took this picture. Let me share here. This is actually of my radio. Share window. The blue part at the bottom would be your scope. Yeah, Kyle, you're right. The Flex does have the best, waterfall scope. So each one of those vertical whitish lines you see there is a signal coming in, and how bright those are. If they get into the yellow and the red, they're really bright. But you can see where people are on the band without having to move your VFO knob and stuff like that. And that's showing just 50 kc off of my center frequency on either direction of my center frequency. So hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, but the thing is, the time of the night the only time of night that I would really need to find a really clear spot like that would be around right before the late shift. Yeah. And the problem is, if you look on the scope on 40 meters right before the late shift, you ain't going to find 2 or 3 apart anyway. So you just kind of got to make the decision. Do I want to activate on a band that I'm not going to get the contacts on, or do I just want to maybe go 2 down or something like that? Yeah. Like they're going to do to me anyway, because it's not like if I'm activating up with 3, they don't move their net right 1 kc down either. So
absolutely. Yeah. Kyle said the Flex waterfall is very beautiful as well, and he's not lying about that.
Yeah, well, some of us doesn't have the Flex wallet that Kyle has, and we don't know much about that there, yeah, Kyle.
That's very true.
That's probably why Golf Alpha Rescup ain't in my log. He's drinking too much beer. I ain't heard you all day, David.
Where's he been?
Oh God. He says he's on the beach drinking beer. And Terry is announcing that he's a furry, I believe. I don't I'm not going to go into what a furry is, but evidently Terry is now a furry. So everybody, next time you hear Terry on the radio, make sure and congratulate him. And if anybody knows why Tom asked me, Victor Echo 3 Tango Hotel Radio, Stroke Alpha. If anybody knows why he asked me, how's the dog? Please let me in on the joke. because it totally threw me off when he said, how's the dog? And I was like, I don't know what dog, but it's fine. And then that cures it.
That's yeah. I'll let you know after this is over.
Okay.
Oh my God. Yeah, people throw us some questions about what gear we use. If it has to deal with elevated radials, I'm gonna have to get Golf Alpha Reese up in here because he's the king on elevated radials.
I can talk a little bit about elevated radials. I've used them quite a bit.
I haven't.
Well, when I went to Florida last year, my main antenna was the Buddy Stick Pro. Unless I was at Colt Creek late in the evening, and then I was using the spark plug antenna. So I've used quite a bit of elevated radials. Also, I've activated with Kilo 3 Sierra Tango Lima, who's got sort of a homemade style Buddy Stick Pro, and it has elevated radials, and it worked really well.
The cool thing about activating with Sierra Tango Lima is you really don't need a tripod stand. You can just have him hold the antenna like this, and it's already like 30 feet in the air.
Curtis, my favorite activating cookies would be Oreos, because I actually did a video where I used an Oreo as an antenna one time. So that would probably be my favorite cookie while activating. And Chris says we don't need no stinking radials.
No.
I'm not. I'm going to get the slack for it here. You don't. If you're just making a speed activation and you just want to get in and get out, get 30 quick contacts or something, you don't. Like, I can't tell you the times on antennas I should have used radials and didn't, but you do got to watch RF burn if you're using them. CW key that has metal in it. So, but
I'll let everybody in on the biggest activator secret in the world. Use 50 feet of coax.
Well, I'm going to have to second that because I've been preaching that for years. 50 foot of coax is it's the magic number, just like 83 watts is. I can't tell you the people who was using 25 foot of coax with their antenna, and I got them to switch to 50, and they immediately said game changer, because it's not just a coax. It's not just getting the signal from the antenna to your radio. It's also a counterpoise. So you could do a whole lot better. If somebody said 100 foot's good too, I haven't never used 100 foot, but 50 foot, I can guarantee you will work like a charm every time.
Eddie used the 1898 on a mag mount with no radials. That's because your radial field was whatever the magnet mount was attached to. But yeah. If you use a mag mount, you're probably connected to your vehicle, which is a counterpoise. So yeah. That's a good point, David. A lot of people forget, if you run a vertical antenna, a vertical of any type, don't care, you need a radial of some kind, whether it be the vehicle you have it attached to, a magnet mount, because a vertical is basically just one half of a dipole. You need the other half somewhere. So that's where your radials come in, or the frame of your truck, or a good ground plane that it's magnet mounted to. So.
Are you saying it won't work without that, or you're saying you need it?
I'm not saying it won't work. It'll work a heck of a lot better if you got the other half of the antenna somewhere. Yeah.
It will. It'll definitely work better. But it'll work. I promise you. It's all about what you're wanting to do. If you're,
if you got coax
hooked
up to it, if you got coax hooked up to it, it's going to use your coax as the radial. So yeah, I mean, you're good.
If you're in a big hurry, there's been several times I haven't. That's just like when I use the Eagle One with the drive-on mount. I typically will throw out 3 radials with it, and it seems to do really, really well with that. But I have pulled in through the Eagle One in a drive-on mount, threw it straight up, and absolutely slayed it without radials too. So, but again, 50 foot of coax. So you're going to get 100 different.
Yeah, Curtis says he runs. Yeah. Curtis says he runs his with 9 feet of coax. And I don't know if everybody's in here has heard Curtis on the radio. If you haven't, I don't know what you're doing out there, Pota, but he's always loud. Always.
Curtis sounds really good, but Curtis, how many radials are you using with your 9 foot of coax? This will be your answer because it's going to be a lot more radials than I'm going to be using.
47.
47.
No, I mean I don't know yet. I use 237 4.5 foot radials. He says 7 to 8. 7 to 8. Yeah.
Okay, so there we go. And he's talking about, more than likely he's talking about hitch mounted because I'm pretty sure that's how he runs his.
Yeah.
So hitch mounted, I don't run any radials. I just used a 50 foot of coax.
And the West Virginia Rust.
And the West Virginia Rust, absolutely. And drive on mount, I try to use the 3 radials. I would like to switch my 3 radials to 9, but I want to switch my radials from 3 33 foot to 3 bundles of 11 foot. So it's the same amount of wire on the ground. It's just a smaller diameter.
Yep. Smaller footprint. No, I have not used the screen yet. So
I've not either because Charlie Golf Charlie was supposed to bring me some, and I don't know what happened. He didn't. I do know what happened, and I'm picking on you, Charlie Golf Charlie. Before you ever even start on me in this after chat tonight, I'm picking on you. Oh.
Yeah. I've heard, I've seen, and I've heard a lot of good results out of those screens, though. I've personally never used one.
I mean, I would think it would work great because, like I said, I use a Nissan Armada for a radial. That's why I don't use radials. And it's bigger than the screen you're going to put under there, so
yeah,
it definitely works well. But radials, a lot of people talk, and I'm no master on radials because I don't even like radials. But people will tell you got to have the radials cut for 20 meters. You got to have them cut for 40 meters. You got to have them cut for every. If you're using them on the ground, no.
Right.
Because I'm going to tell you on the ground, whether I'm using the Wolf River coils, the MFGA 1988, the Eagle One on a drive-on mount, if I'm using a vertical and using radials, and those radials are on the ground, I'm using those 3 33 foots, and I do that on every band I do. Now, if you're going elevated, you must have it cut for the band. That's when it matters.
The magic number for elevated radials is if where the radio attaches to your antenna, if that's about 1 meter or more above the ground, that's an elevated radial.
And you will want that cut because I'm telling you, the SWR will be crazy off if it's not. Silence is golden. Hey, Roger. There's
That's
me $10 to buy me some screen. You know, here's the thing. I think the screen would work really well, but it's not really portable either. You know, you got to roll that screen up and pack it with you and stuff. Whereas, you know, my 3 sets of radials will fit in my hand. They just go in my backpack real easy. So, I mean, what are you doing? Are you hiking? Are you just, if you're just getting out of your car, yeah, use as much stuff as you want. But
I might pick up some screen.
When's the last time you seen somebody do a soda and put out like 46 radials?
Yeah. Excuse me on this summit while I roll this screen out. No, I might try it next time I go out and play with my 1898, because I've ran it with radials, and I want to try it with a screen just to see. Why not? We experiment. That's what we do.
And you know, speaking of that antenna, you know, there's a guy that got it, and he told me, he's like, "Well, I'm not impressed with it." And then he told me how many contacts he made when he's used it, and I was like, "Dude, that time of day, that's good for any antenna." And he's like, "Well, I'm not saying it don't work. I'm not impressed with it." And I'm like, "Well, I'm not saying it's an amazing antenna. I'm saying that it's a super portable antenna that, you know, like when I go to a summit now, I try to take a wire, but you may get up there and there's nowhere to put a wire. And then you got a little small portable vertical that will work. And it works good, you know.
And it fits in your book bag.
Yes,
with the tripod. It fits in my book bag with the wider based Wolf River coil tripod. I can fit all that.
And the thing is, you can use it on multiple different. You know, I've got one of those hooks that'll fit in my hand, that'll fit into, and I can clamp it onto any little tree or stick sticking out of the ground or anything.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just, you know, I'm not saying, you know, it's definitely not an Eagle One, but I'm not claiming it to be one. I'm just saying, if you want a little portable backup antenna, you know, it's not going to do better than your wire. I'm not claiming it's going to do better than your wire, but I love the thing. It works great for me. So
just pack an antenna analyzer with you too, like a little nano VNA or something cheap like that, because I forgot when I tested mine out for the first time, and I had to run back and forth to the radio and keyed up on radio. I said, all right, that's a little bit high. Run back, adjust it, run back, forward.
So I wish I had my bag in here with me, but it's outside because I was activating out there. But I use the little miniature. It's actually an MFJ antenna, and I've heard several YouTubers cut on this antenna. It's funny too, because they'll be like, "This thing does not work. It watched the needle jump around all the time," and it's basically because they're either using junk connectors or they're not connecting it good enough. You know, it's a daggone it, it's a BNC connector. And if it's not connected right, yeah, it's going to jump around, because I've had it jump around on me, and I tightened it up a little bit, and guess what? It stopped jumping. But it fits in the palm of my hand, and I'll take that up there I take that with me about all my activations. I've got that with me, because you never know when you got to test something. I've been out in the field doing activations, and I don't know what in the world's wrong with my stuff, and I've got to test everything. So.
I haven't gotten around. I've only used it once. I might put get a paint marker or something and put some markings on the actual tube so I know how it's set up. But that's really going to change too, depending on what composition of the soil that you're over and stuff like that. But it'll get you in the ballpark, you know, quickly.
You know, I'm meant to set mine up today because somebody was telling me they couldn't get 30 meters on it, and I want to tune it to 30. I want to tune it to 30 meters. So
I didn't even try 30, so I couldn't tell you. Good question.
Well, I mean, 30 meters is my magic band. I love 30 meters.
Oh yeah, I love it.
I went on one of my activations today. I went to 30 meters and just slayed some CW. So, Oh my God.
That boy ain't right.
There's so many things wrong with him.
I think you spiked his Kool-Aid, man.
Oh. Somebody was asking me about the Kool-Aid last night, and they said, I like Kool-Aid. I said, I'll give you some to drink, but you better ask your old lady, because they say once you drink the Kool-Aid, you're under the king's control. Oh, God.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, yeah, it's just been clean up back to what I've been doing. We kind of got sidetracked for a minute there. Oh, just cleaning up still from the storm, man.
What other gear y'all want to talk about? I like talking about the gear that I use.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. You know, you look at all your gear and you're like, you know, I don't really need this right here, because I've got this one and this one and this one, so I don't need this. But you never know when you will. Just like we were talking about earlier, I'm using my jackknife pole tonight because of my spider beams. It has a section stuck from last night. It got some water down in it and it's froze up, so I got to get it loose. So, you know, yeah, masks are expensive and you don't want to buy extras, but if you get a good deal on one or something, you might want to have an extra, because it's always nice to have an extra. And I can't see that. Okay. But yeah, it's a never ending thing. Just it's starting to lightning outside, so that
I've never had a need for that much battery, Chris. I really couldn't. I can't tell you anything more than like 60 amp hour. So, I don't know how that equates to watt hour, but that's big.
batteries.
Yeah.
I tell you, I'm running 60 watt hours now, and I don't know why you would need more than that, because I don't never use half of it. And I do some serious activating. I did 7 activations yesterday, and I didn't even remotely touch it. So. Let me send a message here real quick. What else do y'all want to talk about gear wise?
Let's see. Fox Sierra Zulu says he has 2 boxes, 20 amp hour each. We all know Golf Alpha Reese Cut runs his 12 amp hours all day for a G90. Pushing out those big 20 whiskeys. But I think Chris is looking for some battery solutions to when he doesn't have power and he's going to be at like cabin or something like that for an extended period of time. Chris, talk with Hotel India 8 Delta about that. He has a fairly large battery pack in the back of his car. I want to say 100, 120 amp hour or something like that.
Somebody else has a big. Well, it might be Kurt. Kilo Bravo 9 or Juliet Quebec uniform. Might be. But how extended are we talking?
I think 100 amp hours will last you a week. Just doing normal hunting, you know. Of course, yeah, all the dB he puts out of his voice, it might last him 30 minutes, but, you know, he'll overdrive the batteries.
Sending text, having my gear put up for me. It's getting ready to rain. I don't want it to sit out there.
Uh-oh, Kyle said the Chipotle worker didn't build his chicken bowl very good tonight. Now he's cranky, so we got to put up with that in the after chat.
Oh, Lord. That's a bad thing.
Tell you, Kyle. Go ahead.
He should probably try West Virginia Chipotle.
Yeah. Kyle went on a nice little rove over the weekend. I don't know how many parks did y'all hit, Kyle? I know a couple twofers. You probably hit what, 12, 13 total?
I seen him kept coming up in my spotting app. I was spending time with my grandbabies and stuff like that, and I'm paying for it now. I'm still spending time with my family that's in from Florida for the week, but the last 2 days I've been back to my normal Pota grind. I did 7 yesterday, did 4 or 5 today. I don't even remember. So
that's not cheetah. What's the 10 Parker? The cheetah's 15, right? What's the
I don't even remember. It's
not Warhawk. Leopard.
The Warhawk is 5. The Rhino
Leopard.
Maybe.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Lion. Yeah. No. Rhino. You're right. Rhino, and then cheetah, then leopard, and then lion. Yeah.
I think I still need the 25. I've done more than 25 before, but they're normally 30, so I get lines for them. So I need to just go out and do a 25 one day.
Yeah.
I've been activating a little bit, trying to teach Kilo Echo 8 Yankee Victor Delta how to do some activating. So maybe we'll get a 25. Oh, and Chris said whenever she gets the balls up to whisper back to him that I got to record it for him.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of that, if anybody needs Rhode Island parks hunting, there's a big group of people that are activating pretty much, I think all the parks, not pretty much, but all the parks in Rhode Island, starting today through Saturday, I believe. So
yeah, I got one. It did start today because I got one park to park. They hunted me, so
every park in Rhode Island will be activated at some point between now and Saturday.
So, there you go. There's your hunted all state waiting to happen. Speaking of, thank you very much for the super chat, Mike. Appreciate you. I think Mike got me at every park today. I always love my repeat feet. There's people I can count on when I go out. I know when I spot that I'm going to get certain people. Mike's picking up that list. And speaking of famous list, tomorrow about 4:00 will be the HRAG update for August, and I know there's people already messaging me wanting to know about the who was the top hunter and stuff like that. And yeah.
You do a quarterly update?
It is a quarterly update done every month is what's sad. Because every month it gets the stats from the whole quarter. So yeah, this update will have July and August numbers on it. And once again, I'm not impressed with the numbers because, well, quite frankly, I bum rides to parks right now, but I may have some, thank you very much, Terry, I appreciate it. I may have a little bit of North Carolina Pota start Saturday. Russell, what is the North Carolina Pota event? Are they going to do all the parks in North Carolina, or what are they doing? But it's funny because I have a few naysayers. They're like, he's not putting his numbers up normally, and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, well, guess what, guys? The time of the year is coming up when I get active, and people don't realize that. All the people who thought they might have a chance at catching me in this number or that number, hold your beer because it's getting that time. October, November, December is my active time in Pota.
That driveway is going to be busy.
That's right. It's going to be it's going to be snow plowed quickly.
North Carolina event, activate all 116 parks in North Carolina. Start Saturday. So you got a good chance to get hunted all Rhode Island this week through Saturday, and starting Saturday, hunted all North Carolina. I hope they get on 40 meters.
Did you say how many parks did you say?
116 North Carolina.
There's only 116 in North Carolina.
I mean, I can look. It's not that I doubt Russell. That's what he said. I can tell you.
If there's only 116, somebody tell me if any of them are islands. I may have found my fourth state that I will be going after next. If it's not Rhode Island.
Maybe he's just talking about state parks.
Okay. So, but yeah, if there was only 116, I was like, oh, I can do that.
North Carolina has 230 total.
Yeah, that sounds more like it. That I couldn't do. Not that far away from the house and stuff. So
you can do it in a weekend.
Weekend, yeah. I don't have the Canadian horse.
The horse juju.
I do have the Canadian unicorn though, so I mean I might could pull it off in 2 weekends. So what other gear do we want to talk about?
Mike's thinking about making a big purchase. Want to know if you have any discount codes for any of the big vendors.
Well, I do have a Gigaparts discount code, but it's only for certain items. Mike, if you'll send me an email, I can let you know if that's an item that I have a discount code for. If not, I can probably get you one from somewhere. So just send me an email about that. So I don't want to talk about radios because we all know what radios I would talk about. So let's go.
It'll be interesting. We don't have time on this stream. We only have about 15 or 18 minutes left, but maybe one day we can talk since you've done some very major and long rows and you have your line and everything else. How you go about actually planning a row with the contingency parks in case one's closed, you can't get to one, tree
Right.
fell over the road, what have you. That would be interesting.
Yeah, we could do a row stream one night. Yeah, that would definitely work.
Kyle brought up a really good one. Talk about the antennas you wouldn't use.
Antennas I would not use.
That's correct.
Okay, because Kyle's wanting me to get the email haters coming really quick. All right. So wait a minute. Is this antennas I wouldn't use if I was personally going out, or if I was going out with somebody else? Is it and they were using and I just would refuse to activate with them?
Well, I don't think you would ever refuse to activate if not weren't your antennas.
Because if it's just me going out, I'm not going to use a ham stick, and I know I'm going to get haters for it.
I'm with you on it. I'm with you.
But there's just too many other antennas that I could use that are just as quick and will do twice the job. Now, mind you, Dawn told me about these ham sticks. They're basically ham sticks on crack. They're really big around, and they're like 600-watt ham sticks. And he says they're amazing. So would I try one of them? Yeah. But anytime I've used a regular ham stick, it just don't perform the way I want it to.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of them either. Izzo, what's up, buddy? Saw you slide in here.
Yes, they're quick. Would I use one going down the road like mobile hunting? Sure. If I make the contact, I make the contact.
Hey,
but as far as activating, nah, I'm not wasting my time. You know, I might as well just only go QRP FD8 on the hamstick.
Oh, somebody said his name 3 times. He just showed up. Not Izzo. I'm talking about PP. What's going on, Izzo?
Izzo's always welcome. I like to hear Izzo in my log a lot more. I know he's a busy man, but I always like to get Izzo in the log.
You know how to call Mike if you ever want him just to join the chat, all you gotta do is go again.
Yeah.
Here we go. That's what he's. We were talking about you earlier, man. We said you had a great signal because you were doing some activations out here. You sounded really good today.
So Kyle's comment is using a hamstick is like trying to use a mop to get around. And there we go.
That's a moped.
Oh, I thought you said a mop. See, I told y'all I'm blind.
Well, a mop might work too. But
I think a mop suits it better.
I mean, I've never tried to ride a mop, but you know.
Yeah.
Anything's possible.
I'm from West Virginia, and some of the girls live under the bridge. They try some crazy things. So I've seen it done.
Down by the river. Yeah.
But other than that, an antenna that I wouldn't use. Really, I've not found anything that works worse than that. Honestly,
I'm waiting for your phone just to start going off.
I know it's going to be bad. I'm going to get the haters for it, but and I know there's people that swear by them, but you know, it's like people hate there's a lot of people that hate the Buddy Stick Pro. I love that antenna. Works great. And see now I'm just specifically making PP Man bull in his pants because he can't handle it. But
well, my two.
Don't think.
All right, so here are my 2 choices for antennas I would not use on an activation. Ham sticks, because I mean I just have not even a love-hate relationship with them. It's just I don't like it. Secondly, and what I would use ham sticks before I use one of these is one of those damn alpha loops, because they're so touchy and sensitive to get tuned. Like if you look at them the wrong way, it knocks your SWR like 35 to 1. So yeah, like a loop transmit antenna. I don't think I would ever use one activate.
Terry wants to know how the hustler works. I've never used a hustler. I've used the ATOS, but I've not used a hustler.
The ATAS is great. I mean, I'll give praise to that antenna. I love my ATAS.
Would you use something like Elecraft AX1? So the MFJ 1988 is kind of similar to that. Mm-hmm. It doesn't connect straight to the radio. I have been trying to figure out a way to maybe make that connect straight to the radio, but you know, I would use something like that just to see if it works. The MFJ 1998 is actually the antenna that I'm going to use for my secret squirrel activation that you did, Kyle, in Missouri. When I come to Missouri, I'm going to use an antenna like that.
Now, Curtis, I would try a Delta loop in a heartbeat if I had one. I'd try one, but not a mag loop. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm for trying a Delta loop. I've seen some results from some of those, and they're not shabby.
I don't have a lot of loop experience, so I can't really add to it. I do know they're super touchy though. The ones that I've seen, like, and I wouldn't like that because I like to be able to go. You know, if I'm doing 40 meter sideband, I like to be able to jump to 40 meter CW.
Right.
You know, fairly easy.
Now,
And I have had antennas that I do have to adjust a little bit to do that. So
yeah,
there are there's verticals that if the Wolf River coil, if you want it to be low SWR, you're going to have to make a little bit of an adjustment there to go from sideband to CW. So I
now,
mean, I have.
now I will say well, my standard caveat anyway is we've been talking about radios and antennas that we think are better than others and stuff like that. Whatever radio you got, whatever antenna that you got in the air, whatever you're using to activate is a good one because you're out there doing it. So if you like what you're running, run it, man. Don't listen to us. We're just blabbering. So if you're happy with your ham sticks and that's what you got to run, get it done. Do it.
I have used many, 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 many of antennas, and knock on this wood right here, I have yet to fail an activation with an antenna because I haven't failed an activation. So
yeah, I always said the best antenna you got is the one you got up and the one you're using.
Matter of fact, I did a whole entire state with ham sticks. Was it my choice? Yeah. No, but I did do a whole entire state, every park in the state with ham sticks. So it can be done. You just got to have the will to get out there and make it happen.
So. Charlie Golf Charlie is rolling over, about to hit the unmute button right now. You're talking about Delaware, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about Delaware. and the point of it was, I had my ego on with me. All he had to do is let me bring it along for the ride. I would have jumped out and threw it up and threw it down. It literally, well, now, ever since the whole tire incident, messing up my antenna, it takes a little longer. But back then, it literally took less than a minute and a half. We had plenty of extra time doing that rove.
Yeah.
And I could have threw that up, and we could have reached a whole lot more people. Maybe they didn't want to reach more people because they were doing limited contacts at them, but I would have liked to give people the chance that needed some of those parts, and it would have definitely done better.
I like how it was done, the structure and get in and out. It was very efficient the way that that James had it all planned up. James of the North. So luckily, the ones I think I needed 5 or 6 parks to finish off the state when y'all started, and luckily the ones I needed were y'all hit in the morning or in the afternoon.
Well, now here was the thing too. If you needed a certain park and you were in my Discord, you could have messaged me, and I would have made sure and listened for. But now, in Charlie Golf Charlie's offense, if he couldn't hear us because of ham sticks, there wasn't nothing I could do to fix that. Yeah. But if I knew you needed a park and you wasn't in that log yet, before you left that park, you got a message from me saying, "Hey, we're getting ready to pull out of this park you need. You better come on."
Or if your name is Terry, you would have got messed with, and they would have acted like they didn't hear you, and then said, "All right, we're QRT," and then Terry's like.
We literally heard Terry from the opening CQ on that, and every list we took, we just skipped by him every single time. Heard him every time, and we all know how many times Terry was calling.
Oh yeah, a lot.
I mean, I felt like Toby was standing on Terry was standing on Toby's shoulders on her table.
And I know y'all heard him. I knew y'all were messing with him. And when y'all said, "All right, nobody else, we're QRT," I could see Terry in his chair go and just keel over and die.
That was one of the probably best shenanigan moves ever on the radio, because I mean, we took the soul out of him for sure, and then we yelled for him. It would have been horrible if he would have just shut off his radio and we yelled for him.
Oh my god!
But I would have called him and was like, "Dude, you better get back on the radio." That was an epic time for sure.
Yeah, that was classic. Death by dysentery. That's a pretty good one. Fun times.
All right. Any other gear you guys want to talk about? We're getting close to the top of the hour, and we're going to wrap it up because I got an after chat. Not exactly sure how long I'm going to be in after chat because, as you can hear, it's noisy as crap in here. Everybody coming in and out every 5 seconds. But that's what happens when you're streaming in a camper.
You're glamping.
I'm glamping. I'm not even glamping really. They're glamping. I'm just here for the park and the food.
And
Food's
the brisket.
great.
You never did tell us after Sunday. I didn't hear. How was the brisket?
It was good.
What was it, Eddie's?
It did not surpass Eddie.
There you go, Eddie.
Yeah, it did not. It did not surpass Eddie. Eddie is still the brisket champion, and
you have maintained your title.
He is still the king's cook and scribe, so he keeps his job and don't get beheaded.
That's always a plus.
All right, any more gear you guys want to talk about? If not, me and Dan's going to start wrapping this thing up.
Wrap it up like a Reese's peanut butter cup.
All right, I guess that's it. All right, Dan, what you got coming up?
Just more work, and get me some Rhode Island parks. Hopefully finish. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get all of them because they're going to be out activating when I'm at work, and it's going to be rough. So hopefully I get a good chunk of Rhode Island parks knocked off my list. And remember, that started today and it's running through Saturday. They're going to activate every park in Rhode Island, and Saturday starts North Carolina activate all the state parks in North Carolina. So if you need to knock some of those off your list, now's a good time to do it. Other than that, nothing much.
And there we go. And for me, I'm going to head over to the after chat for a little bit, and I'm going to hang out with some family here. Depending on how late it gets, I may do one more activation tonight, or I might just wait till tomorrow. We'll just see. But look for my activations to start increasing because it's getting that time of the year where I just say, well, it's time to act like an activator. So look for those to increase. Tomorrow at 4 o'clock will be a video drop. It will be the August numbers. And other than that, Pota every day. Thank you guys for the super chats, and we'll catch you over in after chat. 73, everybody.